State of the race. The dire state of Britain as seen through the eyes of Gen Z. One anonymous member of Gen Z shares his thoughts ahead of the election, by Matt Goodwin. Ladies and gents, how are you doing? This is going to be a rant. It's going to be a rant. I just saw this on Lotus Eaters. They were covering it. And I think I could do it more justice in a much more humorous and far more angry manner than the gentlemen at that inestimable podcast did themselves. Matt Goodwin's a good writer, so I'll read you some of it, and I will obviously intersperse it with angry comments from me. Are you ready? Let's get into it. If you believe the polls, then the Tory party is about to be completely rejected by my generation, the members of which were born in the late 1990s and early noughties. Remarkably, just 5% of us are planning to vote Tory next month, while a staggering 83% are planning to either vote Labour, Lib Dem, Green or SNP. But as one of those few right-leaning Zoomers, let me tell you, even that 5% is deeply misleading. Why? Because as Matt pointed out, one enormous problem facing the Tories is not just the remarkably low number of Zoomers who are planning to vote Conservative, it's the few Zoomer Conservatives who do exist and are utterly fed up and frustrated with the party and want to see it completely obliterated. Oh, this young lad's surprisingly sensible, isn't he? We're on the same page here, son. We're just angry at different groups of people. This is where it starts to get good, because this reminds me of being a teenager in the late 90s and having a surprising loathing for people that behaved in the exact same way but were born and raised in England. It's almost identical, really. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. in the morning and I have less than 4 hours before I need to get up and start my morning routine for work. But once again, the neighbours who live downstairs below my flat have decided to have another all-night party. And unlike me, they don't have to wake up for work. Yeah, been there, son. Got that t-shirt. This is what I've been telling anyone who'll listen for 4 or 5 years now. I'm from Middlesbrough. It's a famously impoverished town, Middlesbrough. The pigeons fly upside down because there's nothing worth shiting on. I seen more dead babies outside Lidl in Middlesbrough than I saw in 5 tours of war zones, like Afghanistan and Iraq. I'm the only bloke who jumped off the helicopter in Baghdad and said, I'll tell you what, I'll just stay. I'll change my name to Mati Ak-Jabari and ask Saddam for a passport. Obviously, when he found out I was from Middlesbrough, they rejected me. They didn't want to take any riffraff. And I'm telling you, nothing annoys working class people, and has always annoyed working class people more than leaving your house at 6 o'clock in the morning in the rain in the middle of winter to go and carry bricks round a building site or whatever menial task you do for employment when you're a young lad from a sink estate, and seeing the likes of Mick Philpott, my favourite arch nemesis, sitting on a deck chair drinking cans. And you know for a fact when you get home from work bone tired from grafting all day, he's still sitting in the deck chair and he's still drinking cans, and you're buying his cans. You walk through council estates in the northeast and they're all wearing Nike Air Max and they've got designer clothes on and they're carrying brand new phones, and it goes from a simmering hatred to a full-on rage boner, and you're walking down the street tent pegging your shorts in fury because you think these people should be forcibly sterilised. And here's the rub. At least scruffy chavs taking the piss out of you is on some level tolerable, because you think, well, at least the career welfare recipient's parents might have done some work, or the grandparents might have done national service. But when you find out the bloke just moved in 4 years ago and you've been subsidising him the entire time, it's enough to give you an aneurysm. Rage and hatred does not do justice to the things that I felt about scruffy, inbred, toothless, cycloptic, mutant fatbirds with 11 children, 7 of which came from a series of delivery drivers, i.e. they drop the pizza off and then the tip is back scuttling them in the back garden over the wheelie bins. It's understandable for young working people who have got to toil constantly to pay the rent and the council tax and the lecky bill and the gas bill and the car insurance and the phone bill. It's understandable why they hate people who don't do any work. But when you're importing them from a foreign country, that's just the cherry on top. So in the mid to late 90s, people like me merely hated our pasty, work-shy neighbours. You're expecting young people not to hate people who behave in the exact same way but don't even ever speak to you because they can't speak the language, and never ever paid into the system because nobody in their entire extended family has ever paid into the system? Is it irrational for them to be a little bit annoyed? Is it just putting it out there? No? If we didn't like the scruffy white chavs that were doing it, why would we like the overtly hostile, baleful glare of a conditioned holy warrior who doesn't speak the lingo, has no interest in speaking the lingo, and apparently holds you in contempt? These people make Mick Philpott almost likeable by comparison. At least he wore an England shirt every now and then. The scruffy twat. Anyway, bit of a rant. Let's finish the story. Unlike me, they don't have to work. They qualify for social housing. Their rent is subsidised, and I am forced to pay rising amounts of council tax each month for it, on top of ruinous income taxes, national insurance contributions, student loan repayments. The majority of the tenants in my housing block are unemployed. I see few of them leaving the house for work in the morning. My interactions with them are limited to hostile glares, mixed with the occasional attempted mugging. On the rare occasion I have female company, I have to escort them to and from the bus stop to stop them being sexually harassed. Brilliant. But come back, Mick Philpott, all is forgiven. And I do keep picking on him because it's funny, i.e. because he thought dousing your children in petrol and setting them alight was a good idea to get more money for baby. Right? I do keep picking on him. But anyone who's lived and worked in a council estate knows that there's hundreds of thousands of Mick Philpotts across the country. And in the 90s and the noughties, everybody hated them. In your local, people have contempt for them. They're like, oh, here he is. Can't work, won't work. Career welfare recipient. Chav begets chav begets chav. Yo-Yo Knickers over there's got 8 kids to 8 dads because she's never going to work for a living. Town bike. We've all heard it and we all know it. The point I'm trying to get at is this kid's talking about the exact same thing that we all felt in the 90s and the noughties. The same contempt and hatred and loathing. And the foreign thing is just an added layer. The feelings are identical. It's nothing to do with race or colour or creed or religion or ethnicity. It's the same contempt for people that never work and won't work and drink cans all day while you're out grafting and get everything paid for by the government. Every Chicago town pizza, can of special brew and Super King's tab that they belt feed into them all day long is paid for by people like me, and you wonder why we hate them. You have to be as brain dead as Diane Abacus to not understand this. And to add the fact that we've now got foreigners doing it is just the icing on the cake. So that's the crux of my argument. None of this is new. And it's not about foreigners or xenophobia or bigotry. It's the exact same feeling that we had for people that behaved this way in the 1990s. It just happens that now we've started importing them all. All right? Done. So you can take your non-argument about xenophobia and bigotry and poke it up your dirt box, son. Fold it up 8 times and stuff it where Owen Jones would like to go poking around. All right? Done. Anyway, that's just my opinion. If you think I'm completely unreasonable and I should love carrying bricks on in the rain to pay for random Ethiopians' chicken McNuggets, please let me know in the comments so I can respond in kind by telling you that there are self-replicating organisms in the deepest parts of the Pacific Ocean that would beat you in a pub quiz, you absolute lemon. All right, thanks for watching, ladies and gents. I might have time for one more video before I catch my flight tomorrow, so I'll see you then. Thanks for all the likes and shares, and welcome to all the new subs. I've been popping off again lately. Don't know why. It's probably about time I got put back on the naughty list. Maybe this video will do it. All right, thanks for tuning in, folks. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.